Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are back. Back in effect. Ready to roll. Y'all know what it is. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Basketball Heads Live. I am your host, Glenn Poole Harding. And oh boy, we have a very special guest. This basketball head is a legend in two countries. America, by way of New York City, and all of Puerto Rico. He grew up in St. Albans, Queens. This basketball head attended Hillcrest High School and was a standout there. And after high school, he took his talents to St. Thomas Aquinas College in Sparkhill, New York. This basketball head stood only 6 feet tall, but played like a giant to become a second-team All-American at the NAIA school, in which he helped carry the Spartans to the NAIA Nationals 4 consecutive seasons during his tenure. This basketball head was known for making the key passes and also giving you buckets as well. He would light it up in the New York summer and winter leagues, playing for Bear Stearns and Primetime Roadrunners, just to name a few, in which he would lead the team in assists and scoring as well. After his time playing in various basketball leagues in New York City, this basketball head played in Puerto Rico and began an excellent career down there. How he got there, well, that's a whole nother story, which you will hear later on during the show. So stay locked in and get ready, because this basketball head was and is currently the BSN all-time assist leader during his 20-year career. He also played for several teams during his time playing in Puerto Rico. In addition, the highlight of his career is that he was selected to the Puerto Rico national team. He went up against the 1992 U.S. Olympic team, which everybody knew as the Dream Team. We held his own against Michael Jordan in a qualifying matchup. In 1994, he helped Puerto Rico win a gold medal in a goodwill game. In 2006, he retired from the game and currently is involved with the community in Puerto Rico and now lives in the state of Florida. So, without further ado, help me welcome to the show, New York City, Puerto Rico legend, James True Carter, a.k.a. El Presidente, as we say, the president.
Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Yes. You have just stepped into the world of chaos, where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody. Get online, buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.
What's happening?
Pooh, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Oh, man, let me tell you something, bro. It's an honor to have you on the show, man. I am doing great, man. Look, you've been one of the players that a lot of people have come on the show and talked about. They giving you your flowers. It's like, yo, Pooh, you got to get them on the show. You know what I'm saying? So definitely appreciate you coming on, man. And welcome to Basketball Heads, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for the invite. You know, I've been hearing from a few people about your show and everything, so I'm glad to be here, man. You know, I appreciate that.
No doubt, man. Look, I told you before, man. I play with your little brother BJ. That's
Yes.
my guy. That's somebody who I went to battle with on and off the court, man. We stay solid. So it's good that I get the big brother on, and then hopefully BJ can follow you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. The elder first. Like my man K Mel always says, man, you the elder. So he always, puts me up in front of BJ. That
That's
our
right.
difference is like 4 years difference. So yeah, great dude, my dude.
No doubt, man. So I always ask everybody who come on the show, man, who introduced you to the game?
Wow, that there's various people that done that, but the thing about it is, my mother, used to take me by the courts and stuff when I was a kid, and I used to just run after the ball, and she used to be like, "Yo, dude, come on, man, you too small." So from 2 years old on, I used to just run to the park, run to the ball, and all that stuff. But in Baisley, where I grew up, I played with the Trotters and Dave Hargraves, guys like that. But who actually introduced me to the game was a guy named AU in Baisley, Law Understanding. He introduced me kind of to the game. Another guy named George Pinella. He played at Hillcrest High School, was a Puerto Rican cat. He also, introduced me to the game. And then from there, like I said, I played with the Trotters and different little leagues and stuff. But I wasn't really a good player back then. I wasn't really, as a young kid, I wasn't really that good. But I just had the passion to be on the court, shoot around and stuff like that. But I wasn't really a good player. So, guys like that introduced me to the game. And I just played because I lived right in front of the court. So I actually lived in the building called Building 3 in apartment 4B. I lived right. I used to just look out my window before catching an elevator or running down the stairs, and I could see the court. So I used to just look out the window. Nobody was on the court. I used to run downstairs and play. But I wasn't really good at that time. I wasn't, I became a good player a little bit later on in my life. And like 10 years old, 11 years old, I wasn't really a good player. I didn't really know the game until I started learning the game from, the older guys that used to play around the way. Ty Miller and one of my best friends, Morton Ruler. He used to play with me all the time. He was a baseball guy, but he used to play ball with me all the time. Then I had Raheem. I had Divine. I had a whole bunch of guys that used to play ball with me in the park all the time. So we used to have our battles and stuff right in front of the building. And I used to live on the court, man. I used to live on the court.
I'm hearing these names that you're calling out, right? And coming from the era that we came in, the gods of earth kind of were the people in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
Were you part of the gods and earth?
Well, yeah, I started a little bit late after those guys came in. And I actually saw the name True Mathematics, and I was like, oh, I kind of like got close to that name, and I liked it. So then I started calling myself True Mathematics, and then people just started calling me True, and it just stuck. That name stayed with me. So people just started calling me True and stuff. And then when I went to Puerto Rico, the name changed a little bit, but not the game.
That's right. That's right. So, let's talk about, growing up in Queens, right? What was the climate like in the streets of Queens for you growing up? And what made you kind of exempt from a lot of things that was going on around you?
All right. Well, like I said, I lived in the projects, and, they had people hustling, and they had people doing whatever they were doing in the streets, boosting, all kind of stuff that was going on. But like I said, I didn't really care about materialistic stuff. So I didn't really care about having a lot of money, anything like that. I just loved the sport, and I wanted to play. I wanted to play the whole time. So as I grew older, I stayed the same way, and I just had like an addiction for the game. So I just stayed on the court, and my mom, just like a lot of people that were in the coming up in the housing and stuff like that, we were on stipends from the city. We were getting money from welfare, stuff like that. but I never really aspired to have like a Rolex or a Benz and none of that stuff. I didn't really care about that. I just wanted to play ball. So I kind of stayed away from it. And the guys that were hustling knew me as a ball player. So it kind of made me exempt because at that time, they knew I wasn't trying to get, anything from their businesses. So it was like, oh, he just plays ball. We ain't worried about him. So I got a little bit of reputation around the way as a ball player. And like I said, that's what kept me kind of exempt from everything else.
Those were the times when the gangsters in the streets made sure that we didn't have to jump in their lane, right?
That's right. That's
now,
right.
These kids are being reeled in to the gangster side, which a lot of them are not built for, right? And I'm glad for the era that we grew up in, because the gangsters kind of protected us from, or shielded us from, everything else that was going on. And this is the reason why we and yourself were successful in doing the thing that you wanted to do and loved to do, which was play basketball.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we had protection. At the time, there was the Supreme team. I knew Supreme, Prince, all of them guys. And, especially with Supreme, he used to always be like, hey, man, you got any kind of beef or problem, let me know. And I used to be like, nah, I'm good.
Right.
I'm good, man, But he was, he was a real, he was cool as a fan, good dude. And then, like I said, I used to just go from park to park. So coming up in Baisley, we had that kind of, reputation, and it kept us exempt from, all the other stuff that was going on.
Now that's dope, man. Salute, Dion Reed. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The one and only is in the building. Man, when we talked about the game and us falling in love with it, there's like a period of time when we start to take the game serious, right? Because, of course, when you started out, you said you weren't that good. At what age did you start to take the game seriously?
I could say like around 15, 16. And it was because of a situation in Baisley, or well, before that situation in Baisley, it was something else that happened to me in high school. So I went to Russell Sage Junior High School, right, in Forest Hills. And after Russell Sage, I started going to Hillcrest High School. So as a sophomore, I was on the team, but I wasn't really a good player at that time. And then I went to lunch actually with the coach. His name is Coach Ken Gershon. So I went to lunch with him, and he was talking with the girls' coach, and they were just talking about what was going to happen the next year. So he was like, "Yo, you got a lot of seniors leaving, and so what are you going to do about next year?" So he kind of said, he tried to keep it on the low, like, I got this kid over here, Carter. He's going to be coming back next year. But he's fresh. He's not really a great player yet. So I heard him say that, and that kind of motivated me to just go for the whole summer and just work out as much as I could and play balls, as much as I could. So what I did that summer was I went in front of my building first and would play ball from like 9 o'clock until like 11:30 or so. Jump on my bike, go to another park, play there from 12 o'clock until like 2 or 3 o'clock, jump on my bike, go to another park, play there for, some hours. But I had to be home so we could all have family dinner together. So when I get home to do my family dinner or whatever, I still wanted to play. So then I used to take my bike or walk up to Baisley Park in like right across the pond and play there, because they had 3 or 4 full courts up there that you would play like all night from 12 o'clock at night until like 5 or 6 in the morning. So I used to go up there because they had the lights on and all that stuff. And talking about being protected, well, they had a cat that used to run the park up there. His name was Bing. And Bing used to always see me and play, and he'd be like, "Yo, you playing up here tonight?" I'd be like, "Yeah." So he'd be like, "All right." So he'll call some of his workers and be like, "Yo, go get some juice, go get some water. I got my little Madison Square Garden games going on with True up here playing and stuff." So, and then apart from that, we had a guy that became the director of the rec center downstairs in Baisley. His name is Greg Vaughn. He was an All-American at Queens from Queens College. He's like 6'8", 6'9".
Yep, I heard about him.
Yeah, and he came up in Bed-Stuy somewhere, and he was like, "Listen, we're gonna have a tournament where we're gonna play. My project's gonna play Baisley projects." So he used to train us. So he used to have us out there, going hard. He took us to trips to the city to introduce us to the city and stuff like that. Like, yo, guys, get away from Baisley for a little while and see, other parts of life that's going on, other coaches and stuff like that. So he used to work us out all the time. And through that situation, I became better. And then that whole summer from 10th grade to 11th grade, I went back to Hillcrest, and Gersh saw me playing. He was like, yo, what you do? I played everywhere. I played at ISA. I played Elm Corps. I played citywide. I played all the tournaments. Any tournament I could get in, I would play. It didn't matter which one it was. It was just like, yo, you want to play? I played Rochdale. So and then I started playing for the Roadrunners too with James Ryan. So I started playing with him. I played everywhere, like I said, and then on the weekends we used to go to IS8, where they had Doug Harris, Boo, all of them up there playing, and I got better playing against those guys also.
Now, is this before you went to St. Aquinas or after?
Before.
All right, so that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
that's
good. I was in Hillcrest. Yeah, so it was before. So
wow.
then I used to also work out with guys like Pete Edwards. We used to play one-on-one full courts.
Yeah.
Kenny Patterson. We used to play one-on-one full court every once in a while.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Yeah,
definitely
no
gonna
doubt.
get there.
All
because
right.
You played against some hitters, right? And I tell Pete, I say, yo, Pete, come on the show, bro. Because a lot of kids, they see you and they hear you talking and they don't know.
Yeah.
They have no idea, man. And I think, it's just for us, right? For us, this is a service for the young kids coming up.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because it's not like, he's some dude who just automatically, runs ISA and have a Nike deal. There's a reason why he's
we all know his history. Yeah, Pete was cold, man. He was a great player, man. Good, nice jump shot, mid range, good handle,
lockdown defense,
lockdown D. He was tough. He was tough. Yeah, I played mostly with him than against him, but we did play against each other every once in a while. But yeah, we played together. Wilcox too. Eric Wilcox was on the team when we played in left rack. There's another guy who used to lock down, and we all played together, and we won a left rack tournament and stuff like that. So. Yeah, long time ago, man.
Yeah, man. Those are the days too. Golden era New York City basketball.
For sure.
Like what year did you make the team?
Hillcrest team?
Yes.
Hillcrest team. In 80, was it 81? Yeah,
what year
80,
in school
81.
were you? What year were you? A freshman, sophomore?
I was a sophomore. I went there because I went to Russell Sage Junior High School. It's in Forest Hills. And then from 9th grade, I went over to Hillcrest at 10th grade. So
and that's the junior high schools were. The junior high school used to go up to 9th grade.
To 9th grade, yep. Yeah, I used to go to that one. Did anyway. That one went to 9th grade, and then from there I went to Hillcrest in 10th grade, and I tried out for the team, made the team. Didn't really get any burn and stuff like that, but I was on the team, and then like I said, I got motivated because the coach was kind of like, we got this kid. He's not really that good right now. This, that. And I said, "What? I'm gonna get good then. I'm gonna get like that over the whole summer, So yeah, that's what happened."
Nice. Jason Curry said, "My basketball big bro, Carter. He used to let me roll with him when I was a kid.
That's true.
He said he made the call to King Gershon to get me into Hillcrest.
That's true. Yeah,
Thank you for paying it forward."
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Jace, he's doing his thing right now too. He's doing his thing.
Oh,
also.
no doubt.
He's been doing it for years, a lot of years. Yeah.
Big Apple basketball, man.
Yep.
Appreciate you, Jace.
Yeah,
always looking
Jace,
out.
No doubt.
Yep. Part of the Tom Kachowski Foundation and all that. Yep.
Yeah, good dude for real.
Got my number one basketball head in the building, always on every show. Ayatollah Beats, super producer in the building. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.
All right.
No doubt, man. This is dope, man. This is dope, man. For guys like Jason, right? What you did for him I know he's never gonna forget because he just brought it up tonight, man. But I think that's one of the ways we can kind of pay it forward to let a little younger guy see what's possible, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And once he see what's possible, man, it's up for them to take it from there and move on, man, with it. And he's done a great job with it, man. So salute to Jason.
For sure. Yep. And that's what it's all about, man. I mean, it's about reaching back, bring somebody else with you, and then what they're gonna do the same thing. Because then that's how they get their start, and then somebody else will get a start from them being inspired or just hanging out with a certain player, learning his habits, how he became good or whatever. And Jason was like, "Yo, man, how can I hang out with you?" I said, "Come on, man, just come, let's do it." And he just came, and then he just started playing. And I told Gersh about him, and he went to Hillcrest, same thing. Yeah,
no doubt. Mm-hmm. Coach Biggs, appreciate you, brother. What's up? What school was your rival, and what did it bring out of you? Like, what school did you know? Like, man, when we play them, I got to build my A game.
I'm gonna say they wasn't our rival, but they went a whole different division or whatever. But we had a real good game against Jackson, and Boo was there.
Wow.
Boo. So I was used to playing against Boo because we used to play against each other in IS8.
Right.
So we were gonna play, and we would only probably meet each other once a year, once a season. So there was one time where Boo was like telling me, "Yo, we're gonna play y'all this, that, and the other." I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna play each other." So they came to Hillcrest, and we wound up beating them in Hillcrest. So that was one of the that was one of the top games for us. Jackson coming in, and we wind up beating them in Hillcrest. It was almost impossible to beat them over at Jackson. So
right, how was the crowd there? How was the crowd there?
The crowd was crazy, man. Yeah, the crowd was crazy. But it's like I'm used to having a crowd. I mean, when I played, I didn't really worry about the crowd, or it didn't really faze me, the crowd, because I know that you had to concentrate on the 10 people that are on the court. So it didn't really bother me. But yeah, the game was packed, and half the cheerleaders that were in Hillcrest, they took up half the gym. We had cheerleaders, we had cheerleaders, boosters,
right?
Junior cheerleaders. We had all kind of stuff, man. So they took up half the gym, man. And then just hearing them cheering for you, pump you up. That 6 man, you know how that is.
That's right.
They pumped you up and everything. So you made you play a lot better. And then when you're at home, you're feeling that crowd, backing you and everything. So it was a great game, man. It was a real good game for sure.
Wow. So that defined a moment when you heard your coach talking about you and saying that you were okay. You knew you had to get better.
Yeah.
And it put you in a situation where, you were able to win a big game against Jackson. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
You played against Boo Harvey, one of New York City's greatest guards ever, right?
Yes.
And talk about what was it like playing against 4 more New York City legends, right? We talk about Pete Edwards, Pearl Washington, Kenny Smith, and Kenny Patterson. Like, what was that like, and what was those battles like, bro?
Yeah, it was crazy because the night before you're always thinking about, damn, I got so and so, and you don't want to go out there and get embarrassed. Not that you got to drop 30,
right?
But you want to have a decent game, because in high school I averaged about 12, 13 points, more or less, 12, 13, 14 points. And the top dog on my team was this cat named Willie Allen. He was Will Allen was cold, man. That dude was a grown ass man in high school, man. He was doing his thing. They couldn't stop him. Will used to get off, man. He used to get his 25, 28, 30s. And I used to get my little, 12, 15, but I was running the show. And, what it was like being able to run the show, you kind of learn how to control the game because of the score and the time and all that stuff. So, you start learning stuff like that, and you start learning how to get wins over teams that were better than you, because you learn how to control the clock. You learn how to, when you go into bonus, you become more aggressive, go to the foul line. So that was one of my tactics that I used to always use to try to get more points for us to be able to win the game. Like if we're in the bonus, I would become really aggressive because I know I could make foul shots. Because I used to always practice my foul shots. My J wasn't great, but it was pretty decent. I was I had a pretty decent mid range. My penetration was crazy, and I should be able to go to the foul line and make foul shots. So we never played KP in the high school, but I like I said, I worked out with KP a few times where we used to play 1-on-1 full court, stuff like that. Because he was hearing that I was a pretty good player or whatever, and then, he would come around. I'd be like, "Yo, okay, let's work out." Pete Edwards was another one. I never played in high school, but we used to play 1-on-1 full court, and because he was the one that actually started telling me about 1-on-1 full court, and I was like, "All right, cool." But when you play 1-on-1 full court, there's none of that hanging back at half court. You got to press up, so you stay in shape. So that also helps players become better players against more talent when you're in better shape than them, and that's a hidden gem right there, because if you're not in shape, you can't stay on them. You can't, obligate them to make mistakes, so that happens a lot where a person that's in shape can, outplay talent. So that's how it used to be a lot of times in my situation. I would be in great shape and I would, outplay some talent. And just learn how to win games that way.
You was playing the game within the game.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
That's when I tell kids, when you get to the elite level, that's what you're able to do.
Right.
Right. And
Correct.
control it from that end. Ayatollah B said, ask James, did he ever play in the Jamaica Armory?
Jamaica Armory. Did I play there? I may have. That's so long ago. And then if I did, it wasn't that many times if I did, so
Gotcha.
I would like places I would play in Queens that, would be, say, in Albans Park, Roy Wilkins, because like sometimes when I used to come home from Puerto Rico and I'd come visit my mom, I would play. It was off season for me, but I would play in these different spots. Like 72, I used to always go there, tough place to play, because you don't really get to call fouls. They don't like the foul call. So that's what made me better.
We had a spot around my way. It was called Blood Sport. It was a half court where the older guys played, and that's how you got tougher.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah. Because like we talking about now, the older guys used to be on the court in Baisley, and they used to kick me off because they used to be like, yo, come on, man. I used to have. Because every Christmas I used to tell my mom be like, what you want? I'd be like, Mom, just get me a brand new ball and some sneakers. And that was it. I didn't care about nothing else. She was like, you don't want no new clothes? You don't want? I was like, nah, Mom, just give me a ball and some sneakers. That's it. But she would, obviously buy me more stuff.
Right.
But the thing for me was I would have a brand new ball, whatever, and I would go down, I would be on the court all the time. So the older dudes used to come and be like, yo, dude, come on, man, we gonna play a full. And I'd be like, nah. They just throw my ball over the fence. I used to go get it, and then they play. So I became good enough. To play with the older dudes. But then they started telling me, no shots. You just setting people up. So I used to come down, penetrate, somebody come jump, I'll pass the ball, that's how I started getting assists. That's how I started learning how to hook people up. Because the older dudes used to be like, don't shoot. We need you to hook people up, bring the ball across half court or whatever, shake somebody, make somebody help, and dish it off. So I became good at that. Then after a while, they were like, yo, you can shoot now. You get you some steals or whatever. And then I would be able to shoot. So that's how it was when I first started to become a better player. And I noticed that I started getting better because they would be like, yo, come on, we're going to choose you in now. Before, they used to be like, yo, you out of here. Now they'd be like, yo, come on, we're going to choose you in. So it was a good transition,
Those were our trainers, right? I would listen to a guy talk on the internet about basketball and kids. He said, kids today train too much, right? And they don't get to put a lot of that stuff into practice, right? Into real-time basketball. He said kids should play, work out once or twice, but the other times, other 4 or 5 days, whatever, you should be playing.
Yeah.
Right? Playing repetition.
Right.
And a lot of these kids, I watch them playing, and I call it trainer basketball or cone basketball because it look like that's what they're training for. right?
Right. Yeah.
So, but the older guys were our trainers.
Yes,
right?
sir.
They
Yes,
they
sir.
taught us how to play basketball. They taught us how to cut. They taught about pick and roll. Told
Right.
us how to box out, rebound, and patience.
Yeah.
Patience.
I talk
Right,
to the
which you had to
kids.
learn.
I talk to the kids these days, right? And a lot of them are like, man, I go out and play ball, but the people that I play against are not at my level, this, that, and the other. So I tell them, so then you don't play because they're not at your level? And they're like, yeah, I don't play because, I said, well, why don't you do this? Because I used to do this. If I'm playing against somebody that I feel that's not at my level, I'll just play all left hand.
That's a fact.
And that would work on my left hand. So I would tell them, do this, challenge yourself. Play a game against somebody that's not that good, or play in a game against some guys that's not that good and play with your left hand. Or play the game and all you're going to do is shoot backboard shots. Play the game and all you're going to do is shoot mid-range shots. Play the game, all you're going to shoot is threes. So you challenge yourself to make up for the lack of talent on the other side. If you so-called are a good player and the other guys are not at your level, then go down to their level and play with your weak hand. And, work on stuff like that. And they're like, oh, but I don't know. I said, yeah, do it. Just play that way. Shoot backboard shots the whole game. You can't shoot nothing else but backboard shots. And then a lot of times guys don't realize that they're always thinking about winning. And it's not always about winning, especially at that time when you're playing like in the park. I used to play against kids 10, 11, 12 years old. I'd be like, yo, you 5 guys play against me. And they'd be like, we're going to beat you. And I'd be like, yeah, but it's not about me beating you. It's about me learning how to shake, get through, because those guys are low to the ground. So you kind of learn how to be low to the ground and start learning how to shake and get through 5 people. I used to love the game 21 also. I love that game.
Oh, man. Dog,
right? That's some of the best.
Yes.
That's some of the best playing right there. When you got double teams and you got to get past them. And then
you got 4 or 5 guys coming at you at one time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That helps you a lot. People don't really realize that, but 21 is like one of the best games to play. Besides 3-on-3 and 4-on-4, yeah. But 21 is nice.
That's what I think kind of helped New York City guys with their handle, because we had that game, right? You had that advantage. For myself, whenever I went to the park, I wouldn't pick anyone that was good. I wouldn't pick everybody that wasn't that good, and challenge myself to beat those guys who were supposedly good. But I think that's a great idea. If kids not playing with people that's on their talent level, to be working on other things. And at that time, you should be working on other things, because the games don't really count.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, because a lot of guys think about, I got to win. It's not about that at that time. Because when you play in a tournament, you play and you're coming down court and you're on the left side and you're making left hand layups, like it's easy, like it's like you're right. Then you start realizing like, yo, I'm getting better because of those other games that I played, and not worried about winning. You can win a championship if you play in a real tournament. Yeah, you worried about winning, but as far as you're working out and you're getting your talent better, do that, and that way you'll learn how to use your left. Shoot off the backboard, which people do, which is a lost art right these days. People don't really use the backboard like that for shooting off. They want to throw the ball off the backboard and dunk, but they really don't use it to shoot shots. And a lot of the greatest scorers used to use the backboard a lot.
No doubt. True, hold on real quick. We're gonna go pay some bills real quick.
All right.
And stay right there. I'm gonna introduce sponsor. XBot Go turns your smartphone into a relentless AI cameraman built for sports, tracking every sprint, dunk, and goal across 20+ sports like soccer and basketball. Lift the burden of recording from volunteers, parents, or assistant coaches, and focus on the game. XBot Go, the only way to go. Capturing sports priceless moments. Want y'all to check this out real quick. It's a new camera I'm promoting. For anybody that need a camera, this is the new wave right here. Check it out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If anybody interested, you'll get $20 off if you use the code basketball heads. All right. It's in the link if y'all scroll up. I just put the link in the chat. But also if you scroll all the way up to the top, you'll see it right there. I just put it on the screen. Xbox Go. Just copy and paste that link. Use the code basketball head and get a $20 discount off. Trust me, this is the new wave. All right, Xbox Go. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So now, finishing up at Hillcrest, right? Did you guys make the playoffs? How many years did you do it? If so,
well, we made the playoffs. My junior year, we made the playoffs, and then my senior year, I actually got hurt. I got hurt in a scrimmage game and broke my wrist. So I was out for 10 weeks, and I missed the whole regular season. And then we made the playoffs. I came back for the last like four games for the playoff season. And then we got eliminated. I think Grover Cleveland beat us. No, we beat Grover Cleveland, and then we lost in the next game, and we were eliminated. And then, you know, I was getting some real interest from different schools as a junior. But since I broke my wrist as a senior, I really, you know, they started lacking off, and I didn't really have a school. So I got invited. I played in the Wheelchair Classics. And then after that, I played in another tournament, another like all-star game. And Maurice Lucas was my coach in that. Maurice Lucas was an ex-NBA player.
Yeah,
he was my coach.
yeah.
I played in the All-Star game there. I got the MVP. And
Wow.
this coach from the NAIA school saw me there, and he started calling me. His name is Dave Possinger. He started coming to Baisley to visit me and everything. Started talking to my mom. So I had the NAIA school. That's St. Thomas Aquinas. And then I had another school called Potsdam State, which was way up in Syracuse. I went for a visit, but I was like, nah, I ain't going
Yeah,
out there.
that's a way up. That's
what?
Way up.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy, Pooh. So I wind up going to St. Thomas Aquinas because this guy was on my back the whole time. Like, yo, come to my school, come to my school. So I wind up going to St. Thomas Aquinas and NAIA school. And I played there for 4 years. So my freshman year, I had a senior ahead of me. His name was Jeff Cooney. He passed away. Yeah, rest in peace. But you know, I used to give like 5 or 6 minutes a game as a freshman, and then he graduated, and then from sophomore on, I became a starter on that team at St. Thomas Aquinas.
No doubt. Michael Lloyd Seeley said, "Glad to see you doing well. True, Hillcrest strong."
All right, tell him I said, "What's up? What's up?"
No doubt, no doubt. Said Coach Biggs, "Yes, sir. 21 was the best game ever." Yep,
yeah,
for sure.
That's real.
Said Mike Barnes. Mike Barnes. What up, Mike? Listen, Mike Barnes is a New York City basketball historian. Trust me. When he writes what he's gonna write in the comic section after this show, he's gonna, and I'm gonna send it to you. He's gonna be giving you information like, damn, I remember that name. I remember that. He remembered games that everybody else forgotten about.
Nice.
He said, ask True if he ever met Joe Hammond through Ab, and how are those games that True played?
I never met Joe personally, but Ab for sure. Ab used to always be at IS8, and I did see Joe Hammond play like maybe one time, but you know, I never really met him though. You know, I was a young kid at the time, but they used to always talk about him. They used to always talk about how cold he was and everything, and I got to see him. But you know, they used to have a lot of old pros go up to IS8 and play. It seems like everybody in the world that was in the basketball world played at IS8 at one time or another. So yeah,
legendary tournament, man, legendary
for sure.
So, now we talking about your transition at St. Thomas Aquinas, off and on the court. I read in the New York Times article that you said you couldn't sleep for 2 weeks. Said there wasn't enough noise there. He said, I'm used to sirens and people talking. Here, just crickets.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about that, man.
That's
I know we all kind of went through that. Coming to the city and then going away to college.
That's real talk. And I always tell people, like, listen, your first year is the hardest year of college. When you go away your first year. And I wasn't even away. I was away, but I wasn't away. You know what I'm saying? Because St. Thomas is in Rockland County. But yeah, my first year up at St. Thomas, man, I stayed in this. They had a little dorm at the time. They didn't have the dorms that they have now. They had a little dorm there. And it's like I said, my first 2 weeks there, man, I was tossing and turning pool like it was, I was like, yo, what is this? And they, everybody's like, yo, what's going on? So I used to be up at night. I had a little refrigerator, and my roommate used to be like, yo, what's going on with you, dude? I used to be in the refrigerator eating my food and, whatever snacks and everything. And he used to be like, dude, sleep, man. I'd be like, I can't. And he used to be like, what's wrong with you? I said, yo, it's too quiet up here. I can't do it. Yo, I used to have the TV on all night. In Baisley, I used to live on the 4th floor. You hear gunshots, you hear sirens all night, and I would be able to sleep. But up there, for the first 2 weeks, Pooh, it was killing me. So you know what I started doing? I started working out at night. So I used to get my push-ups on all night, do my sit-ups, my push-ups. I had a routine just to tire myself out, and I would fall asleep that way. So that helped me a lot. That helped me a lot. And then my boy started telling me, like, yo, dude, you getting a little chunky, man. You might want to start running a little bit, because I wasn't really playing on a team. I was a freshman. Right. I was playing 5 minutes a game. So I started running. I started doing, like I said, push-ups, sit-ups, and all that stuff. So I got into the mode of working out, and it helped me a lot, So it used to help me rest. But yeah, my first 2 weeks, man, I was crazy up there, Pooh. Yeah, I couldn't take it, man. Used to people screaming out, yo, get over here, this and that. And then, you hear the sirens and gunshots and everything else that was going on in the street. And I lived on the 4th floor, and I used to my window was facing Guy Brewer Boulevards, which was New York Boulevard at the time.
That's right.
Yeah. So I was facing. I used to look across the street to the bus stop. So I used to never be late at going to school, because I could see the bus coming from down the block, and I'd be like, yo, mom, out. And I would run downstairs and just jump on the bus from there. Yeah, especially in the wintertime. Woof, when it was cold out. Yep.
Guy Brewer Boulevard was once named New York Boulevard.
Yeah, New York Boulevard. I know, right? New York Boulevard. Wow. For those old heads.
Facts. Yeah. U2 TV said Potsdam won national championships in the early 80s. Those teams had a couple of players who went to play in the NBA. True. Thanks for the history lesson, bro.
Nice.
Thanks for the history lesson.
I did hear that they had a real good coach and everything there too. Yeah.
These are my guys from upstate right now, just chiming in.
Okay.
Said, yes, Potsdam was tough back in the day. What up, CK?
Yeah, I heard they were cold. They had good coaches and everything up there. Yeah.
Yeah, just too cold for you.
Yeah. I mean, if I would have gone there, I wonder what would have happened. I wonder what would have happened, right? That's the only thing I could do now is just wonder, like, what would have happened. But, I mean, I was pretty decent where I was, so I would say that. I got my degree. I have a degree in communication art and all that. So I did finish school and everything too. So that's a great thing.
That's where I first heard your name pop off. At St. Thomas Aquinas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like it was your name used to ring bells back then. So later on when it happened, but just like, yo, this guy kept it going. Like a lot of people playing the NAIA, NAIA, they would play and do well there. Then they would kind of venture off, maybe play overseas, or that would just be it. Right. Like most of us that play college basketball, but when your name just kept buzzing later on, and then later on in Puerto Rico, then the summer tournaments, it was just like, man, he kept it going for real, man.
Yeah, I got kind of lucky too. That helps. Cause,
yeah. We definitely gonna talk about that. Definitely gonna talk about that
for sure.
So your sophomore year was the year you started playing. Would you say that's the year you started to come into your own?
Yeah, I could say that. Yeah, my sophomore year.
Similar to high school, right?
Similar to high school. My sophomore year, I started getting high school. I was really my junior year, but college was my sophomore year.
Gotcha.
Where the coach gave me the reins and it's like, yo, this is your team, this, that, and the other. So yeah, I started playing then. And then I was looking forward to, and we went to Kansas City where they had the national championships and stuff. So all 4 years I went to the championship, and then my senior year we made it to the Final Four. We made it to the Final Four in Kansas and everything. So it was a great experience, man. Just being on those teams, not winning the whole thing. I mean, we still had the experience of going to Kansas City every year and all that stuff. So it doesn't happen to everybody.
That's right. It's a once in a lifetime
Situation.
shot to win it. But if you get there and you get to experience it, you know, right? Because you have that with you forever.
Awesome. Yeah. So my sophomore year, I was averaging like maybe 15 points a game. Then my junior year, I was averaging like 16 or so. And then my senior year, more or less around 16. So my junior year, I was a second team All-American NAIA. And then my senior year, I was a first team All-American NAIA. But you know what's crazy about that? You know who was on the first team All-American also? Besides me, the two guys, and they went to the NBA. Dennis Rodman.
Wow.
And Scottie Pippen.
Wow.
Those two dudes were on the same team as me as a first team All-American. They went to the league. Yeah, that's but obviously those dudes are way bigger than me though.
And Hall of Famers, but
Hall
still,
of Famers,
right?
Word,
come on, come on.
They Hall of Famers, yeah.
That's right. That's right. They just wasn't in the league. These guys were different makers.
That's true. They sure were. And then during the times that we played in NAIA, I played against another guy who went to the NBA also. His name is Terry Porter.
Oh yes. Tough.
Another guy.
Oh, the Trailblazer.
Yeah. Wisconsin, Stevens Point. Yeah.
Man, and people, and look, again, the NAIA produced a lot of great players.
Good players, that's true.
A lot of great players, and
yes,
a lot of times they get overlooked. But man, to play on that level and to make it anywhere and become great on the next level, man, that's saying something.
Yeah, that's for sure. You know, but before I went to Puerto Rico though, in '80, I graduated in '86 from St. Thomas, right? Mm-hmm. So before I went to Puerto Rico, I played USBL in Staten Island. I played in the USBL in Staten Island, but I almost didn't make the team. Well, I'll explain to you. They had tryouts in Cromwell, Staten Island.
Oh yeah, legendary.
They got like 10 full courts up there.
And I don't understand why it's Cromwell not a site. I don't even know if it's still around. Like
me either.
Cromwell Gym, that should be a site for AAU.
Right. It should be. Yeah. But we don't even know if it exists anymore. But I went up for the tryout and they had like 10 courts where they had scouts running around saying, I like this guy. So it was 300 dudes up there playing.
Right.
So scouts would go from one court to the next, and then they'd be like, oh, I like him, I like his handle, I would do this, and then they would mark you off. So the next day I went, they cut it down to 150 cats. So I made the next cut, then they cut it down to 75, and I made the next cut, they cut it to 50, then I made the next cut, they cut it to 25, and then from the 25, they kind of cut it down to like 15 or so. And then they came to me and it was like, yo, we're gonna let you go, but give us your number. We're going to make you an alternate. So I was like, all right, no problem. So they had their draft or whatever, and they picked a guy in their draft, and I think it was Eric Turner. I think he went to Michigan or something like that. He came out positive in the drug test. So they called me up and said, hey, listen, you still available to come play on the team? And I was like, yeah. So the coach at the time was this guy named Coach Oliver. And Sam Worthen, who I played with and against, told me about Coach Oliver. He's like, nah, he's a good coach, this, that, and the other. So he kind of put in a good word for me and everything too. Right. And then I played in the USBL. But I had two guys that I played with there that was that went to the NBA. One was Ken Animal Bannister,
who played for the Knicks. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the other guy was John Hot Rod Williams, who played for Cleveland Cavaliers.
I just watched the story of them today. That's so crazy.
Oh, really?
You mentioned that. And they talked about the scandal that broke down out in Tulane.
Yeah. That was my guy, man. I used to take him to Baisley with me all the time.
Wow.
For real. Yo, 6'11".
Yeah.
I used to because like you said, he's from New Orleans. He used to be in Tulane, everything. So me and him got close on the team. And he'd be like, yo, man, I said, yo, I'm gonna take you with me one day, man. I'm taking you to my spot. He's like, all right, cool. So we wind up going to Baisley. He stayed with me in Baisley one night or whatever. And my mom cooked for us and everything. Made cake. He's like, man, your mom could burn. It's that. I was like, yeah, man. So we played the whole season and everything. And the next season, he signed with Cleveland. He signed with Cleveland next year. Yeah. And I went to a few of his games because he used to always be like, dude, come to my game. So we're playing at the Garden. So Cleveland was actually going to play at the Garden. And I had somebody visiting me from Puerto Rico. So he said, yo, man, I would love to go to a game at the Garden. And it just happened to be that Cleveland was playing that day. So I called my man. I said, yo, John, what's up? He's like, oh, where you at? I said, I'm in New York. He's like, yeah, come to the game. I said, all right, cool. So that's what I was coming to call him for the tickets. So I went up there, stayed with him for a few hours during the day. You know, he ordered some steaks. We ate this, that, and other. And I said, yo, I'll see you later. He got some rest, and then he had the game. So I couldn't really kick it with him after the game because they had the next trip. I mean, the next game was in New Jersey at the Meadowlands. At that time, they had the Meadowlands, and he had to go to that game. So before he left, he gave me a big bag, and I was like, "What you doing?" He said, "Yo, here, take this." I was like, "All right, cool." You know what he gave me? He gave me the Cleveland warm up gear for practice gear. I'm like, dude, I can't fit. He's 6'11". I'm like, dude, I can't fit this, man. He was like, man, take it, man. You know, you my dude. You know,
right.
Yeah. So I took it with me and everything, and you know, that was my guy, man, before he passed away and everything. Yeah.
Wow, that's right. Rest in peace. Huh?
Yeah, rest in peace. Yeah.
Wow.
Good dude, real good dude, though, man. Real good dude. Yeah.
Breaking Down Sports. Hope that answers your question, man. Hope that because he wanted to know what was your first year like. All right. So hope he answered your question.
The first year at school or
no, he's talking about first year playing in USBL.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was I only played one season though.
Right.
That was 86. Yeah. Then the next season I went to Puerto Rico.
Now, another one of my good friends, All City player, Omar Lee is in the building. He said, "What up, Glenn? Tell true, Omar Lee is in the building."
Yeah, actually, I played with Mike Lee. Mike Lee and I played in Hillcrest together. So yeah, that's family. Yeah, Omar, good dude, man. Good dude.
That's my guy right there, man. My brother for life, right there.
Sure.
Yeah. So, let's go back real quick, right? And because I know there's a story that you wanted to tell early on, right? And we talking about that transition from you leaving Thomas Aquinas to go on to Puerto Rico. How did that happen?
Well, you know, like I said, I played in the USBL.
USBL,
USBL 86 first. And then after that, I was like, you know, wow, what am I going to do now, you know, as far as basketball is concerned? So I was in New York playing in the USBL or whatever. And then I've played in a few tournaments. So I played in a couple of tournaments and stuff like that. And I played some street stuff and everything like that. And I played uptown. I played in Roberto Clemente State Park. I played up there. I used to play for the Courtsmen at one time too. And we won the Pro Rucker in 86, as a matter of fact. So we won the Pro Rucker in 86, and we played against Pookie Wilson and Steve Burke. They were in the backcourt. So yeah, nobody knew who I was. I was just playing with the Courtsmen, but nobody really knew who I was. So it was kind of cool. I was like a little secret or whatever. But there was one chick that was in the stands, and she was like, "Yo, that dude Carter played in NAIA school. He went to St. Thomas Aquinas." This chick, I don't know how she got stats or whatever. She was like, "Yeah, he went to St. Thomas Aquinas." But we wound up winning the game, and we beat them in 86 in the Pro Rucker. So then after the Pro Rucker, I played in a couple of street tournaments, stuff like that. And then I met a Spanish dude who introduced me to like some leagues that he was playing in. So I just said, yeah, all right, just to keep playing. So I played with him. And then there was a guy, his name is Joe Narvaez from Brooklyn. He used to come pick me up every once in a while at my house. And then one day he came to pick me up, and I got a phone call, and I started speaking Spanish to my grandmother, because she doesn't speak any English. So he heard me speaking Spanish. He said, "Yo, how you know Spanish?" I said, "Oh, my mother's from Puerto Rico." So he was like, "Your mother's from Puerto Rico?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, why? Is that hard to fathom? He was like, nah, man, but you look like a brother. I'm like, yeah,
Right,
yeah,
right.
but Puerto Ricans come in all shades,
That's
and
right.
everything. So he was like, okay. So he said, yo, the next day we're gonna go to get your birth certificate and your mother's birth certificate because there's a league in Puerto Rico you can play in. And I was like, all right, let's do it. So we went, got that paperwork taken care of. After we got the paperwork taken care of, we contacted an agent from Puerto Rico, and then there was 2 teams that were interested in me. The first team, my mom didn't really like the dude who came up as a representative for the team, and she was like, "Nah, I don't like him or whatever." And I didn't sign with that team. So then the next team that came by, they went actually to see me play. They went to Roberto Clemente State Park, saw me drop like 25 or 30. And then, the guy was like, yo, we're interested, but we're going to come back tomorrow because I know you have a game tomorrow, because this could have been luck that you dropped 25 tonight. So I was like,
Right.
all right, cool. So the next day I dropped like 32. And then he was like, all right, we're interested. So then he called his partner down in Puerto Rico. And then from there, they were like, listen, we want to do a contract with you. And then there was a coach that used to coach at Hunter College. His name is Ray Almabert. So Ray Almabert, since he was here in New York, he was there in New York, he spoke to me and he said, yo, listen, I'm going to help you do your contract, this, that, and the other. So they're going to offer you an apartment. You're going to have a ride when you're down there. And then they're going to offer you for the season, they'll offer you a certain amount of money or whatever. And I was like, all right, cool. So when I went, I left and I took like me, my mom, my BJ went down there, and my sister. So we went down there, we visited, they stayed for like a week or so. And then after that, they broke out. But BJ stayed, and I told him, "Yo, look, don't sign with the same the same team I'm on, because we're gonna be 2 point guards here." I said, "Just watch the season, go through the season with me." We went through the season, and then the next year he signed with a team called Bayamon. So I signed with a team called Guayama. He signed with a team called Bayamon. Man, so he signed in 80. I signed in 87. He signed in 88. And they won the championship, Pooh.
Salute to my guy BJ.
Yo,
that's right.
Yo, they won the championship the next year. I was like, come on, man, you're killing me right now. Yeah, so they wound up winning the championship the next year. So that was crazy. But I was happy for him and everything. So, and then from there, I averaged like 23 points a game on that team. But the thing about that team was, it's gonna make you laugh. The year that I got there, we won 6 games and lost like 24, right? Ooh. But the year before that, they won 2 games and lost like 28. So after the season was over, the people were coming up to me, yo, great season, patting me on the back and everything. I was like, why are these people so geeked right now, So they came to me and was like, yo, we're getting better. I said, yo, we only won 6 games. They were like, nah, you don't really realize we're getting better. So the owner of the team at that time started putting together some pieces for us to get in a better situation. So from that time, 87 until 91, the team was building up. And then in 91, we finally made it to the finals. So we started making it to the playoffs and all the time after that. And we made it to the final. I made it to the finals twice. And those 2 times that we made it to the finals, I got the MVP of the league and I got the MVP of the All-Star game, stuff like that. So yeah, that's how it went down for me in Puerto Rico at the beginning of everything. And wow. I didn't play right away on the Olympic team because I had professional status and I couldn't play, because since I played the USBL, I couldn't play on the Olympic team. So I had I had pro status. They wanted me on the team, but they were like, we can't invite you because you have pro status because you play USBL. Yeah.
Effing USBL.
Yeah. But I mean, it was cool because I 2 years later they changed the rule. That's when the Dream Team came in.
That's right.
So that's they changed the rule, and then they let all any level play international ball also play FIBA. Yeah.
Now that's dope. Yo, Mike Lee is in the building, family.
Okay, Mike, what's up, Mike?
He's in the building. That's right. My guy, I had a question on Instagram. Did you play against Lloyd in the USBL?
Lloyd Daniels?
Yes.
No, but I did play against him in Puerto Rico, though.
Oh, what was that like?
Yeah. Oh, come on, Sweet. Yeah, he's and he was, you know, on the way down, but he was still cold, man. I'm gonna tell you about the game that we played them, right? So the American that we had on our team was Anthony Bonner, who actually signed with the
Yes.
Knicks at one time.
Yep.
Right? He was Sacramento, then he went with the Knicks. So that's still my dude, AB. That's my guy. So we're gonna play Sweet Pea in them, right? We go out, we're gonna play Sweet Pea in them the next day. So we at the club. So I'm like, yo, fellas, I'm out of here because you know I'm gonna give me some rest for tomorrow.
Right.
So AB's at the club with Sweet, and Sweet's like, yo, you leaving? And he's like, nah, I'm not gonna stay out with you all night. They stayed out all night. They stayed out all night. So Sweet and them, they played us at our spot, right? So we're in the game. There's like I'm gonna say like 20 seconds left. And we're tied. So no, they're down 3. So Sweets come in. He's like, "Yo, I'm a tie the game with a 3 from half court." And I'm like, "Get out of here, dude." So, yo, with the time that was on the clock, he shoots a 3 from half court off the backboard, and they tied the game. All right, so we go into overtime, and we get the ball for the last 8 seconds. So I'm telling Anthony Bonner, I was like, "Yo, AB, they're gonna double me. Be ready to, you know." Anthony Bonner is mostly known for his defense, but he had a pretty good foul line jump shot. So I come off the pick, they double me, I kick it back to AB. He shoots and misses the shot. So we go into the second overtime. So he's like, "Oh man, I should have made that shot." I said, "Yo, AB, don't worry about it. It's gonna happen again." So we play. Another time we got like 10 seconds on the clock. Same thing happens. I throw it back to him. Same thing happens. He hits the shot. We win the game. But, you know, Lloyd, that game, man, he was, you know, just coming down, taking our big men inside, outside, hitting threes. I'm like, this dude right here, man. He was a cold dude, man. He could ball.
Definitely,
he could ball for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Eric Wilcox is in the building.
Cox. What's up, Cox? Yeah, no doubt. Another one of my mans too. Yeah. Like I said, we play left rack. Man. We used to tear stuff up in left rack all the time.
Gary Bird is in the building.
Gary, what's up?
He said, "True El Jefe."
Yeah, no doubt.
No doubt. People pulling up for you tonight, man. Pulling up for you.
All right, people.
You named some notable players that you played against and played with.
Right.
Like, who was somebody who, you know, that had a notable name that you faced that, you know, you kind of bust their ass and it was like, I belong. And we could go back, even if it's before Puerto Rico. I'm just talking about, like, what was that name that you realized, you know what? Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go back to the USBL days. Because this is a funny story that happened to me. Wildwood, New Jersey had a team. They had a team, right?
Yeah.
So on the team, like I said, I was an alternate. Nobody knew who I was, Pooh. So they had 2 dudes on the team that was supposed to be going NBA. One was Othell Wilson, went to Virginia.
Yep.
And then the other one was Stuart Granger.
Mm-hmm.
So it was funny because right before the game, like as tip-off was about to happen, they standing side by side next to me talking about, yo, who is this dude, right? Like that. So they like, yo, when we in the NBA, you're going to be getting our Slurpees, man. You're going to be at 7-Eleven, working at 7-Eleven. I was
wow.
So I was like, all right, cool. No problem. So tip-off goes and we balling. I'm coming down. I'm doing my in and out crossover, you know, taking them cats or whatever, doing my thing. They like, whoa, this dude could play. So we lost that game at their spot, but I couldn't wait for them to get to Staten Island. Oh my God. They come to Staten Island, right? And before the game even starts, we warming up or whatever. They calling me over. Yo, shake and bake. What? Shake and bake. Come over here like that. I'm like, what's up? Y'all want to talk to me now? I said, you don't want your Slurpee no more? What's going on? They're like, so they're like, yo, take it easy tonight. Take it. I'm like, you want me to take it easy tonight? What? Why is that? You don't want your Slurpee service? You don't want your I'm going to be in 7-Eleven taking care of y'all. Well, why should I take it easy? So they're like, nah, man, we got respect for you, man. You came out and you do your thing. I was like, all right, cool. No problem with that. So yeah, I go to that. And but I have played against a lot of guys internationally. Like when I was on the national team, I played against, that's guards anyway. Kenny Anderson, played against Petrovic. I played against what's the guy? Miller, Gary Payton, Tim Hardaway, AI, Steve Nash, Jordan, Stockton. I played against all of those dudes, man.
Wow. Kenny showed you love too. I put the post up on Instagram. Kenny showed you love too.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Kenny, what's up?
My God.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Now, speaking of Jordan, right? Because I know you if I was you, I would definitely have this as a poster. Like what was this moment like and what was happening?
All right. We're playing them in the game. We actually played them twice because we played them in the pre-Olympics, which was in Portland, Oregon, at the Rose Garden, at the Portland court, right?
Right.
So I don't know if this picture is from that game or if that's from the Barcelona game. But so I'm guarding MJ or whatever, and I'm outside on the perimeter. And he I guess he hit me with a up fake, and I went for it, and then he's kind of like sliding around and stepped through. But it's funny because I always tell, because the people from PR ask me like, yo, what, you went for the fake? So I always tell people, I say, nah, you looking at the photo the wrong way. This is the first time you're gonna see a Puerto Rican player jumping higher than Jordan.
Wow.
You see, so I see it in a different way. I always tell them that I see it in a different way. I'm jumping higher than Jordan. This is the first time you're gonna see something like that. But yeah, I went for the fake or whatever. But yeah, so we had he had like 8 points against us. He wasn't really going hard because they had a crazy crew, all Hall of Famers except for like one dude, which was Christian Laettner.
I think Charles Barkley was the leading scorer for that team at that time.
Yeah, he was going hard. He was going hard. Pool every game. He was going hard. Yeah, he was out to prove a point. He was doing his nasty stuff. And Charles is a bad dude too. All of them. Basically, they all bad cats. But I was a little disappointed that Isaiah wasn't on that team because that's really my idol.
Man. Just imagine.
Yeah. So that's the reason why I used to wear number 11, and it's crazy because I got invited to their veteran camp in '90, and I got to actually meet Isaiah and be in the locker room with him and all that stuff. So it was crazy situation. Yeah,
people don't realize how tough Isaiah used to be, man.
Yeah, he was cold. He was a cold dude. Yeah, he was nice.
I get mad when I hear people talking about Jordan I mean, like, y'all just watching highlights. Y'all didn't see him play. Like,
no, that's
and that's the difference.
Right. And they still trying to label LeBron like the greatest. I'm like, man, I don't see that.
I'm never gonna see that.
Right.
I'm never gonna see that.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Never. I don't care what anybody say.
Yeah, forever. Yeah,
that's a
for
fact.
Real.
That's a fact.
Yeah, Mike was a cold dude, man.
Man, that's
and all the stats and everything else. If Mike played 24 years, man, wow. And he quit 2 years and came back and
still killed.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
He said, I knew I liked this guy's energy. Zeke was my favorite player as well.
Oh, word? Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, he got things that happened in the playoffs and stuff like that. But come on, you can't take away, his flowers, man. That dude was cold, man. Cold.
No doubt. Mike Barnes said, Glenn, ask True about Michael Jordan pushing up in the backcourt on True. And True shook Michael Jordan almost into the scores table during the 1992 Olympics. Now, if Mike Barnes said it happened, it had to happen.
You know what's funny is that when I started out, well, I didn't start that game because I had another dude that was ahead of me who had been on the team a while before me, right? But he was really too slow because his game was just back to down, pass it into the big guys, stuff like that. So, my game running. So that first, who was guarding me at first was Magic was guarding me at first. But I was too fast for Magic. So then they started switching the guys up. So Scotty guarded me for a little while, and then Mike guarded me for a little while. But yeah, the in and out crossover worked on them too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, because Mike
Iverson wasn't the only one, baby.
Exactly,
Iverson wasn't the only one.
Mike don't like to guard them little guards like that, man.
Right,
because he's super athletic, but if you go in the wrong way and you come back the other way, it's a different story. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, like I said, Magic was the one who started out guarding me at first, and then he found out he was like, "Nah, I'm a little bit too slow for this dude." And Magic wound up being he was like out of all the guys on the Dream Team, was a cool dude, man. Because before we played, there was 2 warm-up courts in the one in Barcelona. Anyway, there was 2 warm-up courts outside, right? So there's a big curtain separating the two, and we hear a basketball dribbling on the other side, and then my backup point guard on the national team was like, "Yo, there's somebody over there." So he opens the curtain, he slides the curtain open like a little bit, and he goes, "Yo, Dream Team over there." So he speaks to MJ. No, he speaks to Magic and said, "Yo, Magic, can we come over?" And he's like, "Yeah." So we went over there and we took pictures with them and stuff like that. And it's funny because the camera that I had, Pooh, it's one of those yellow disposable joints.
Right,
so I didn't know. I didn't know if the joints were gonna come out because they didn't have cell phones back then, so you could see it right away. So I didn't know if the joints was going to come out. So yeah, we wound up taking pictures from them. And then something else happened on that trip. We were in Spain, and the 2 people that had flat tops was Patrick Ewing and Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
So they had to get their haircuts from the dudes from Spain, and it was crazy because they had like the lines around their head, like they put a bowl on the top and all that stuff. So they was kind of pissed off. So they see me and my man, because I was like the official barber for my team over there. So I had a flat top. Jerome Mincy had a flat top. Another guy named Edwin Peyote, he had a flat top. So I would cut their hair. They would cut my own hair and stuff like that. And they was like, "Yo, where y'all get your hair cut from?" So I told them, and my boy told them, "Nah, True Cuts out here." So they were like, "Yo, come to the hotel tomorrow and cut our hair, Patrick Ewing and Scotty." So I went to the hotel, and it was like at 3:00 in the afternoon. So I went to the hotel, and while I was there, they weren't there. I guess they had practice. So I left them a note. If you guys really want your haircut, you got to come to the Village. The Village is where all the other athletes were staying. So I was like, they ain't gonna come over here and get their haircut. Man, I'm coming from the cafeteria, man. I'm eating some fruit or whatever, and I'm like, damn, look at these 2 dudes. These are some 2 big dudes coming at me. It was them. They went to the Village, and they got their hair cut. I cut their hair right. They were trying to get the
flat top like you, right? Right there.
They was like, "Yo, we're gonna be on TV. We don't want to get embarrassed." So they wound up coming there to the Village, and they hung out with us. So the guys that were on my team that was staying in the same apartment, we was drinking Don Q. That's rum from Puerto Rico. They was like, "Yo, what y'all drinking?" So they started drinking some Don Q with us and hanging out with us, and just talking in general.
Where did you learn how to cut hair at, bro?
I learned on my own, man. I learned on my own, just experimenting and trial and error, yeah, for sure. And it's funny because who used to also hang out with us was Cynthia Cooper.
Yeah,
Cynthia Cooper was on the U.S. team. So I met Cynthia Cooper one time in 1990 when we played in the Goodwill Games in Seattle. The men's tournament was over, and the girls' tournament was about to start. So she was like, "Yo, Puerto Rico, what's going on?" Like, trying to get on, right? So I said, "Hey, how you doing?" So she's like, "Hey, my name is Cynthia, this, that, and other." So I spoke to her and everything. And she was like, "Y'all out?" I said, "Yeah, we out." And she was like, "Oh, I'm going to see you another time, though. I'm going to see you another time." I said, "All right, cool." So we wind up making it to the Olympics. And then she used to come to the apartment all the time and hang out and stuff. Yeah, good people, too. She was real cool people.
And what a bucket.
Yes.
Okay.
She was cold. She was cold.
If y'all don't know, do your homework on Cynthia Cooper.
She was cold. And it's funny because she went to a few of our games and, and she came because she's like 6'2", so she's staying over me. She's like, "You all right, you could play." You can play. She was telling me like she was critiquing my game. You all right, you can play, you quick, this, that, and the other. Yeah. So it was good. It was a good time, man. Good time for sure.
Oh man, you talk some legendary moments right here, man. Legendary moments, man.
No doubt, no doubt.
Like, when we talked about your time in Puerto Rico, you won MVP in the league how many times?
Twice, 2 times.
2 times in the championship MVP?
Well, I'm gonna tell you, we lost the championship twice in the major tournament.
Gotcha.
In the winter tournament, we won. I got 2 chips there.
Gotcha.
But what's funny? What really hurts me right now, I mean, there's been always like on my neck, is like in '91, the first year we made it to the finals, right? We went to the 7th game, and we lost it by like 5 or 6 points, something like that, right? But if the team would have won a championship that year, it would have been like one of the like winning Triple Crown for me, my situation, because that year I got the MVP in the All-Star game. I got the MVP of the league. The national team won a gold medal in the Pan Am Games in Cuba. And I was part of that. And then if we would have won a championship, that was like winning the Triple Crown, man. I would have.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but we wind up losing in the 7th game by like 5 points, man.
Damn.
Ain't that crazy? That would have been like something to really talk about. Like, MVP of the All-Star game, MVP of the league, gold medal in the Pan Am Games in Cuba. And we wind up being the US team for the gold medal, to go into the gold medal. Because Mexico, we played Mexico for the gold medal. But the game before, we played against Eric Montrose. Who else was on that team? Jimmy Jackson. Grant Hill.
Wow.
Yeah, they had a crew, US team. Look for 1990 Pan Am Games, and you'll see their crew. That's who we beat. We beat them to go into the gold medal game, and then we beat Mexico for the championship. Yep, for the gold medal.
Wow.
Yeah, yep. So I played against a lot of them cats that went to the league too.
Right.
Witherspoon and like I said, Kenny Anderson, all them dudes. Alonzo Mourning, Shaq. I played against Shaq. I played against Reggie Miller, Larry Johnson.
Wow.
All them, like internationally, all them dudes. Detlef Shrimp.
Right. Oh, Detlef. Woo.
Yeah.
Problem.
Yeah. Oscar Schmidt.
Right.
Matter of fact, me and Oscar Smith played, because I played in Brazil. I played in a few other countries too. I played in Brazil. I played in Spain. I played in Venezuela. I played in Mexico. I played in the Republic, in the Dominican Republic. So I played in a few different countries and played in different tournaments. And like out of all those 3, I won a championship in Mexico, and I won a championship in Brazil.
Wow.
So
20-year career is absolutely phenomenal, brother.
Crazy, yeah.
That's phenomenal, brother. It says Eric Wilcox said, I miss playing 2-on-2 against True and BJ in the cage with Pete Edwards.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we used to get it on. And BJ wasn't even a ball player at first either.
Wow.
BJ used to be running around, throwing rocks and all kind of stuff. I said, yo, B, man, you need to play some ball, man. You got too much energy. And then he just started picking it up. He just started playing ball, man. But I'm gonna let B tell his story when you get him on.
No, for sure. Marcel Smith said, great show, lots of history. Queens in the building. Salute, Queens, get the money.
Yep.
That's right. CK said, yes, I remember. I think Clarence Witherspoon was on that team as well.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah. Derek Hawkins, another Queens legend. He said, salute to the Southside legend, True Carter, a.k.a. El Presidente. Now, how did you get that name?
That name was given to me in Puerto Rico. It's funny because, Jimmy Carter was the president of the United States.
Wow.
So there's a guy, his name, he passed away a while ago. His name is, I think, Manuel Rivera. He was a narrator, a guy, commentator on Puerto Rico basketball, one of the greatest. Because he used to say, wonderful, and he always used to come up with all these different comments and stuff like that. Awesome dude, man. Older dude, But and he just started saying, man, we're gonna call him El Presidente. So they started calling me El Presidente because of Jimmy Carter. So they always gonna be, Jimmy Carter comes down with the ball, Jimmy Carter. So then that's how the name stuck, Pooh. That's how it stuck.
And we used to hear it in the highlights, El Presidente.
Presidente,
We
yeah.
going crazy, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Yep. Yeah, Presidente.
Wow.
Yeah. People still to this day, man, come up to me, yo, President, what's up, President? I'd be like, what's going on, man? Yeah. No
So
doubt.
to this day, you are a national hero in Puerto Rico, to this day and forever.
Yeah. In Puerto Rico, they give me my flowers over there. I'm in awesome place, man. I love, the time that I played ball in PR. And what I really wanted to do was leave, because the town that I played for is a really small town. And I really wanted to win a championship for them, man. It would have been like awesome to just get one.
Right.
We've gone to the finals twice. And the second time we went, you guess who was my coach the second time we went to the championship?
Who's that?
Sam Worthen.
The great Sam Worthen. I just sent him the show too, so hopefully you watch it tonight.
No, that's my
my
dude,
big bro.
Man.
Yeah, for sure.
That's my dude, man. Sam, he used to, true, you're not shooting enough. He used to, Pooh, I used to come down, right? Maybe I hit 2 or 3 shots in a row. Then I said, nah, let me set shit up. He'd be like, yo, what you doing? I'm running the offense. He'd be like, you ain't shooting enough, dude. Come on. I swear to you. Any coach that used to give me the confidence, that dude used to always be like, yo, come on, man. You ain't shooting enough. Get out there and get more buckets. For real. Yeah, Sam. So that's another year that I got the MVP, the 94.
Wow.
Yep. The next year I got and we went to the championship again that time, but the team that we played, too much, man. They had the best center Puerto Rico's ever, like that's been on the national team for the longest, like the best center ever in Puerto Rico. Then they had Eddie Castellanos, another cold dude. Luis Allende is another ill dude that was on the national team too. So they had like 4 or 5 players from the national team on that team. Then they had an American. His name was Mark Strickland. He played with the Heat. He played with the Miami Heat for a while. Yeah, so he was on that team too. So we got swept. And then their strategy was just let True get off and we'll stop everybody else. So I would average like around 30, 32 in that season. I mean in that series, but we just didn't have enough, man.
Wow.
We didn't have enough, yeah.
He said Ortiz that played at Oregon State.
Yes, sir. Him and Gary Payton played together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Said DO3 and D said, can you ask James about the Olympic team 1994 Vega trash talking Shaq, Reggie Miller, and Afiba
yes,
Toronto?
Sir. Yeah. So we playing.
Appreciate you, Theo. This is some great questions, man.
Yeah. So we playing in the World Games, right? So our coach didn't want to lose like by a lot. So he was like, yo, fellas, we're going to run the clock and then shoot with the last 3 or 4 seconds left, right? So Shaq and them, that's when we played the first time I played Shaq. So Shaq and them are like, what are y'all doing, man? We ain't playing no ball. Y'all standing out there with the ball, So we went through, like around 8 to 10 possessions doing the same thing because, like I said, he didn't want to lose by a lot. But Reggie Miller was killing us. So Shaq goes to the basket, I think it was, and he was about to go up and dunk it, but Orlando Vega kind of like pinned the ball and something happened. They both got like it was going to be a jump ball or something, and then they start pushing and stuff like that. And then Orlando's talking smack to them like, y'all can't mess with me, this, that, and the other. And from there, but OV Orlando Vega, he was that type of dude, man. He used to go hard. He was one of the guys that, because I think he's from DC. So he was one of the guys that were like one of the top players in the country at one time with Alonzo Mourning and all those guys at one time. Yeah. OV was a cold dude, man. Strong right hand.
He was saying that too. He said he couldn't remember his first name.
Yeah, Orlando.
And you got Orlando. Yep.
OV, yeah. That's
wow.
what they call him. Yeah.
Wow, that's
I played with a lot of great players, man, and against a lot of great players too, man. So yeah, it's been a real good situation, man. Like I said, a lucky phone call, man. It helped me out.
Did you play against Carl Krauser? Did Carl Krauser play with you, or you played against him?
Carl Krauser.
He was from Pittsburgh. From
Pittsburgh. No, I don't remember him.
All right. What about Eddie Rivera from UTEP?
Yes, sir. We used to have
St.
some
Raymond
battles.
and UTEP great.
We
Yeah.
used to, yeah, he had an ill crossover. So he used to give me problems because he had his crossover was like my crossover. So it was like, to try to stay in front. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you playing against somebody that does the same thing you do. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Right.
trying to stay in front. Yeah, he used to give me problems, man. That used to give me problems. We had some good battles, man. He was a few years behind me, but he was a cold dude too. Not a great jump shot, another New York City dude, not a great jump shot, but can get any way he wants as far as handles concerned and get to the basket and all that stuff. So we had some good battles, man, for sure. Yeah.
When you look back on your career, do you realize how legendary it was?
I mean, not really, but you know what? It's funny because Jerome Mincy is that's like another brother of mine. He went to UAB and he was on the national team before I got there on the Olympic team, right? So, he started telling me like, yo, dude, when you get on the Olympic team, it's going to be a lot different. The respect factor is going to be a lot different because the whole country shuts down to watch the games, whether it's basketball, baseball, whatever sport. This at the time I was in Puerto Rico, there's 5 million people on the whole island. You could get around the whole island in 5 hours. Pooh.
Wow.
That's how small the island is, right? So, he was telling me like, yo, dude, it's going to be a different respect, this, that, and the other. So, it was great to have that career. And then I spoke to him. I said, you know what? Sometimes I feel bad about playing ball. And he was like, why you say that? I said, because, a lot of guys that I went to school with, high school, college, they had their working career and they're retiring right now. And, Puerto Rico's league doesn't have like a retirement plan. So, you have to fend for yourself after. So he was like, dude, are you kidding me? You know how many people would trade places with you just to have, that. And I never thought about it that way, because, I heard about a friend of mine retiring from working the city job or, retiring from doing something else. But, I never thought about them, saying like, yo, dude, I would change places with you in a heartbeat to be able to play. Like I played in a whole bunch of countries, man, with the national team. I've been to Argentina, to Greece, to Spain, to China, to Mexico, to just to play ball, man. And it's like, dude, I would trade places with you in a heartbeat. Venezuela, Brazil, all these different places that, and you're going off of somebody else's dime because of your talent, which is crazy, man, So, sometimes I kind of regret it, but other times I start saying like, damn, you're a lucky dude. You got into the right place at the right time, right situation for sure.
No doubt, man.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, I would definitely have traded that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, to play
I didn't
something.
get a chance. My situation a little different after school. Had to come home and kind of take care of family.
Okay.
And that basketball kind of escaped me, so I stayed away from the game.
Right.
And I came back to the game in 2020. So just imagine, I graduated in 92. I played West Fourth.
Okay.
For about 3 or 4 years. Played Rucker 1 year. And that was it. I think like 96, about 96, I was finished playing with ball.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
for that, man, for sure.
Right.
Definitely. Let me see. Got some more questions up here. I asked them that already. What was Marcel Smith said? What was your best years playing ball? High school, college, or pro?
Wow. I'm gonna say playing overseas because I don't know, maybe because the stakes were a little bit different. And then when I finally made it to the national team, it became a whole different thing because you're representing a whole country, So, I think like my best years really happened to me later than sooner. I mean, although I had a pretty good career in college and everything, but I'm gonna say like the pro leagues that I played in and stuff was a lot better because, you're facing different players that have different skills, better than you, maybe a little bit, have a different game than you, slower, taller, So it was a different challenge like every night. And I could imagine like playing in like if the guys that play in the NBA, because you're playing against the best in the world, and it's like every night you got a bad dude in front of you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say, like, playing overseas and stuff like that was like the best time that I had playing ball.
Man, and you were like fine wine, True. You got better with time.
Yeah, little by little, I started learning little things of the game, and like you said about being strategic about playing and stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Mike Barnes says, True. Said, do you remember playing with James Ryan that Rochdale Ross tournament versus Tony Brown's crew featuring Eric Brown, Boys and Girls Miami, Kelly Washington, Mark Jackson played too in 1987.
Yeah, Mark Jackson was on our team at that time too. Mark played with us. Yeah, I don't know how James got him to do it, but he played with us.
Right.
Yeah, and we wind up winning the chip. Yeah, we won the chip that day. Yeah, I mean, the team that we played against, all those cats, man, they were awesome players too. All of them were good. So the game was going back and forth. You know how everybody gets the momentum going one way, momentum going back the other way, because you know that the game is a game of runs. So
that's right.
Yeah. So I mean that was awesome. But besides doing that, they had the sniff tournament up in Queens and in Baisley. So playing there also helped because the crowd was on top of you. You know what I'm saying? So, when you see like when I used to watch the N1 tournaments and the games and stuff like that, where everybody's on the court and doing all that stuff, man, that just prepared me for going to Puerto Rico and playing everywhere else. So that's why, for me, I would be a little nervous before the games, but the crowd would never really faze me at all because I was used to doing that, playing in Rochdale and playing citywide and playing Elmcore and playing up in Baisley and stuff like that. So yeah, I remember all those games, man. My son, as a matter of fact, my son has a piece of a tape from a VHS from that game, and he shows it to me every once in a while, man, where I'm taking the ball out, passing it to I think to Mark in one of the inbound plays. So like, yeah, you know how long ago that was, 80 something. Yeah, that's crazy,
man. Long time.
Yep.
Yeah, Derek Hawkins told me about that sniff tournament.
Oh yeah,
when he came on. Yep.
So,
Eric Wilcox said, "What player from the neighborhood influenced you the most?"
What player from the neighborhood influenced me the most?
Yes.
Wow. It's crazy about, all right, influence in what way? That's the thing, because like I said, I played at IS8. IS8 was the ultimate for me. Was the ultimate. And I played with Pete. I played against Pete. I played with Wilcox. Played against Wilcox. So it's kind of hard to just name one person that just because I got a piece of game from everybody. I remember one summer. No, it was one winter. I came home from Puerto Rico, and I went to IS8, and I saw this young kid pull a move that I said, I got to take it to PR. I had to take it to PR, Pooh. So he's coming down court, right? It's a 2-on-1. The first time he throws it behind his back to his teammate, and the teammate catches it and makes a layup. Another 2-on-1 comes, he wraps it around him and keeps it in front of him and just lays it. Oh my God. I was like, oh, I got to take that. So,
who was the young kid?
I don't know who the young kid was. It was just a kid I saw playing. But the influence comes from everybody. You know what I'm saying? Right. So you get and everybody does that to everybody. You get a piece of something from everybody. So I could get a piece of game from Pete. I got a piece from Wilcox. I got a piece from everybody that I played with, man. I took that and I took it to PR because people were playing very stiff in PR.
Right.
So my first year in PR, when I was doing the hezzy, put my hand by the ball, they used to call double dribble on me all the time.
Wow.
My first year, all the time. I said, I'm not touching the ball. And they used to be like, nah, that's a double, until they got used to me doing it.
Right.
So I took that there. And like I said, I took that move. Behind the wrap behind my back and keep it to myself. Man, people, they were flipping out over there. Like, oh my God, this is crazy. So yeah, I can't just name one player that was my influence. You know what I'm saying? So I got a piece of game from everybody.
Wow, you helped the whole country kind of evolve on the ball side.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they always tell me that. They said, man, before you got here, there was nobody else doing what you were doing. So, like I said, my first season, they were like double dribble. I was like, yo, I'm not touching the ball, dude. So I had to the herky jerky, eyebrows up, shoulders up, put my hand next to the ball and out crossover. And, they were like, we never seen this before like this. You know what I'm saying? Plus I was really fast. But then when BJ started playing, he was faster than me. And I was oh man.
Super light.
What? Super speed. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. He used to give me problems, man. I used to be like, yo, lucky this dude ain't really going hard because he used to give me problems, man. Stay in front of him. It was crazy.
All right, I'm with this last one that we're gonna get to our top 5. Say, who was New York City point guard you saw? What was the New York City point guard you saw that should have made the NBA or been good, like Ed Booger Smith? Have you ever seen Booger play?
Did I see Booger play? I don't think so. I think he was behind me.
Yeah.
I think he was behind me. He was probably like
younger.
BJ.
Nah, he's younger than that. Later.
Than that. Yeah. Because when I went to Puerto Rico, I stopped seeing New York ball because I was, I was staying there and I was living there.
Right.
So right. I would never really see any New York ball. So now, let me think. Anybody that I think that could have gone to the league. There's a lot of cats that I played against that, probably. Let me see. Boo would be probably
for sure
that dude.
Yeah.
Because
everybody says that.
Yeah, he had more of a Rod Strickland game.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because Rod didn't have a great jump shot. And matter of fact, I used to play with his brother. I used to play with Byron up in Roberto Clemente State Park. Yeah, that was my dude too. So
Byron could shoot. If Rod had Byron jump shot.
Yep, that's true. It would have been more problems. Yeah, he was already a problem, but it would have been more problems. You know? But Boo has more of a Rod Strickland game. Not a long distance jump shot. Mostly mid range. It's New York City guys though.
That's right.
New York guys like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, if you could change one thing about your career and your journey, what would it be and why?
I'm gonna take it to the time that I got invited to the Pistons veteran camp. I went there playing like a regular setup point guard, and they were looking for somebody to take Vinnie Johnson's place. So what they were because the reason why I really got picked up was because I was playing on the national team. We played in the Goodwill games in Seattle, and I was coming off the bench for the Puerto Rico's team. I was averaging like 13 or 14 points off the bench. So I was instant offense. I would just run up and down the court, get past people, being faster than everybody. And the scout, I guess, saw that in me. He was like, yo, Vinnie Johnson is asking to renew his contract, but he wanted more money. And when I went to the Detroit's camp, I was there setting things up. I wasn't really playing my game that I should have. So that I would change that. I would go there and try to kill everybody. They're gonna cut me. They're gonna cut me for
that's right.
For something. It's not gonna be for playing lackadaisical or not being aggressive. So I would change that, and maybe I might have had a better chance. I did play in the CBA after that. I played in the CBA for 2 different teams, and I went to I played in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then I played for the Harrisburg Hammerheads. And the coach in Harrisburg was Sam Worthing. Again.
You better shoot that ball.
Yeah, it was. So they didn't have the problem. You know who's on my team too? Terminator.
Yeah.
He was on my team. And then in Tulsa, my coach was Henry Bibby, Mike Bibby's father.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy, right? And then who came to my team also that time that went to the league, Anthony Mason.
Salute.
Rest in peace. Yep. Anthony Mason. Yep. Another Queens legend. Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Well, let's get into the top 5. Let's have some fun real quick before I get you out of here.
All right, cool.
All right. Top 5, baby. Top 5.
Top 5 NBA.
Top 5. All right. So this is how it goes. You only can name 5 people. Can't bring nobody off the bench. All right. Now we talking about everywhere, right?
Everywhere. Okay.
Top 5 players you played against.
You got the dream team, man. So I got Magic, I got Jordan, Scotty, Patrick Ewing. I got one more, right?
Yep.
Patrick Ewing, and I'm filling every position though. Let me think. Oh, got to be Barkley.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. All right. Top 5 guys you played with.
Played with. That's tough, man.
I know.
That's tough. That's
That was
tough.
part of the show right here.
Yeah. Top 5 guys I played with. Damn, I played with so many dudes, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right. The ex NBA Dickie Simpkins.
Mm-hmm. Dickie
That's
Simpkins, Providence. Yep.
That's my dude till this day. Dickie Simpkins, Jerome Mincy, Ortiz, the center. I'm gonna say Eddie Casiano, that also played with me, and my last dude. Let me think. Oh my God. Oh man, I can't think of this last dude. Wow, Anthony Bonner.
No doubt. That's 5. You got to do that. You got to do that seamlessly, man. You got to do that. Now, the next 5, right, is from your perspective only.
All right.
Nobody else. Top 5 players in New York City history.
History. Wow. History. Wow.
From your perspective.
From my perspective.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
It got to be Kareem, Dr. J, New York City, Joe Hammond.
2 more.
2 more. Wow. Top 5. New York City. Damn, that's tough, man. Sweet Pea.
Okay.
And let me think one more. Strickland. Rod Strickland.
Hey, listen, you can't go wrong with that. No one has ever picked the same 5, man. So that's going to show you how many, great ball players, legendary ball players come out of New York, man.
For real. Yeah, no doubt.
Man, let me tell you something, True. It's been a pleasure and an honor to kick it with you.
Same here.
We got numbers, man. Let's stay in contact.
Sure.
Let's make sure we get BJ on the show. I'm talking to Sam. I hit Sam Worthing up at least once a month. Be like,
really?
Yo, big bro, you ready?
Yeah, he don't want to do it. He don't want to do it.
You
What's
ready?
going on? That's
He always tell me, but you got to put in the call. Be like, yo, get on with Pooh. He already know he watches the show all the time, and I know he's gonna see this.
Right.
But man, listen, man, brother, appreciate you, man. I just want to let you know, man. If you don't know, you are one of the greatest players to ever come out of New York City, and the thing that you did in Puerto Rico and overseas, you have always made us proud, and we never stop talking about you, brother. So
appreciate that.
Thank you for all the great memories, man, and also making New York City look good wherever you went.
Appreciate that, man. Thanks for the flowers, man. I appreciate that. To everybody out there, man. All my people that I play ball with, played against, all that, man. Nothing but respect for all of y'all, man. Because we had some battles in IS8 and everywhere else. I always remember, those days, man. Y'all made me better. Y'all made me better, honestly.
Wow. Derek Hawkins said an awesome show. You may need to have a Netflix-like series to cover all those stories.
That's possible.
Oh, bro.
Right.
Seriously. And maybe down the line we talk about, look, I won't mind. We put together a nice docu-series.
That would be cool. That would be cool for sure.
No, for sure.
Right.
So we're gonna talk. I'm gonna holler at you about that.
All right, let's do that.
No doubt.
All right, Pooh. Hey, I appreciate, man. I appreciate your show. Thanks for letting me be on, man. I appreciate, giving me the airtime for sure.
Much love, brother. Appreciate you.
Much love. All right.
All right.
Peace. Peace.
Yep. Wow. Isn't that something? Listen, you may not start off where you want to be, but if you keep working at it, if you keep chopping that wood, keep chopping, keep working on your game, keep sharpening your sword, good things may happen. And from hearing our story tonight, he admitted it. He didn't start off being great and legendary, but he ended that way. And it's not how you start, it's how you end up. And tonight, we got a chance to witness greatness, legendary status. My guy, James True Carter, New York City and Puerto Rico legend. No doubt. To all my basketball heads out there, this is your first time watching the show. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and share this content. Share this content. Let's get this way up, man. Let's share this with everybody. Let everybody know James True Carter, El Presidente, was on the show tonight. And let's keep it going, baby. Run those numbers up. Well, listen. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. I'm your host, Glenn Pooh Harding, Basketball Heads Live, the official home for New York City basketball. Peace. Yes, sir.
Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Yes. You have just stepped out into the world of chaos, where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Hurry up, everybody. Get online. Buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.